Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be working on building a rain collection system. A while back I did a video on how to install these vinyl gutters. They've worked great so far. I intended to hook this up to a rain collection system, and that's why they didn't go all the way down to the ground, and I'm just now getting around to installing that. I'm going to be using 4-inch PVC pipes to connect these together and run down to a holding tank under our porch. I'm going to be using a Sawzall to cut the pipes to length, but once you're done cutting, it's a good idea to remove any of those burrs, and the best way I've found to do that is just hold the knife sideways and scrape over the corner, and it shaves off all the extra plastic on there. You really want to clean that off so it doesn't get caught on anything going down the drain. It could cause clogs if leaves and things get stuck on those burrs, so it's a good idea to make sure that those edges are cleaned up. So right now I'm making a special piece to fit because the porch is right up against the downspout. I don't have much room to put in a 90 like I did on the other side. So I had to put in a cap and cut a hole out of the top of the pipe. It's not ideal, it doesn't look the greatest, but it works. Once I've got everything cut to size and it fits the way I want it to, I'm going to take some PVC cleaner and prime all of the pieces, put some PVC glue, and start assembling it. I do want to mention, I believe in some areas there's restrictions on rainwater collection systems, so I would just double check with your area and make sure it's allowed. To hang the pipe here, I'm going to be using some pipe strapping under the house where I don't have access to joists to screw to. Everywhere else under the porch, I'm going to be using these pipe hangers. They're really heavy duty, so they'll be able to hold well. But over time, PVC can sag if you don't have enough pipe hangers, so I'm going to be placing these every 4 feet or so. And if I notice a sagging, I'm definitely going to be adding in a few more hangers if I need to. Now this is quite a long stretch, so something to consider while you're doing this is making sure that you're going downhill with your pipe. So I'm dropping down at least an inch every 10 feet to make sure that there's a slight decline and all the water will make its way out and not get stuck anywhere. So I've run the pipe about as far as I need to for now. I'm going to add in the tank to hold all the rainwater, and first I need to pressure wash this. I've had it for a year or so and it's gotten pretty dirty, so I'm going to clean this up. I'll also pressure wash the inside of this tank. It has been graded food safe, so I should be alright to use this for my garden, watering everything, but you'll want to make sure the contents that was in it before is food safe. And this was actually vegetable oil. I'm going to clean it out really well, and it should be all right, not harmful in any way for what I'm going to be using it for once it's nice and clean. Next, I'm going to start making a filtration system for this. We're not going to be using it for drinking water by any means. It's just going to be watering our garden. So all I'm trying to do is filter out the large debris and any fine sand or grit that's going to be coming down the gutters from the roof. So to do this, I'm going to need 2 5-gallon buckets, a pool filter basket, and some mesh bags to go with that pool filter, and then a kitchen strainer. And that will give me a 2-stage filtration. The kitchen strainer will catch most of the large debris on the top, and then that pool filter with the fine mesh bag will filter out any of the fine debris that makes it through. I'm going to cut both of the buckets so that they fit inside of each other. The first one, the smaller one, will hold the pool filter, while the larger one will pretty much just be the housing to hold everything else, and that's what the kitchen strainer will be setting on as well. I'm going to attach everything together using some rivets. And then once I'm done with that, I need to cut a hole in the bottom of the bucket so the water has a way to drain down into the tank. And to do this, I've got just a small plumbing or shower drain that I'm going to be gluing to the bottom of the bucket. That way it will direct the water right into the storage container. I'm going to take some kitchen and bath silicone and just put a bead around this drain so it seals it from the inside. And then once it's in, I'll also put another bead around the outside on the bottom of the bucket. That way it will hold it in really well and make sure this is nice and sealed. So here's the filtration system. You see the drain at the bottom, then the pool filter, and then the strainer on top. Now that I have the right height for the filtration system and the tank below it, I can finish putting in the last few pieces of pipe. And for those last few pieces, I'm not going to glue those because I may end up changing something if I want to add additional drains into this tank. So I'm going to leave that as it is, but it shouldn't leak at all. It'll be perfectly fine to leave that way. And to hold down the filtration system, I'm going to put in a few pieces of pipe strapping and screw that down in place so it doesn't blow away. So we just got some heavy rain and I went out to check the tank and it's completely full now. So now I need to install some fittings so I can hook up a hose or fill up some buckets using this water. Okay, so depending on which tote you buy, these valves can be different and you're gonna need an adapter for normal plumbing fittings to be able to hook up to that. And so I'll leave a link in the description where I purchased this on Amazon. They had 3 different styles for the 3 most common valves, and you can pick which one you have. So this should work for what I have today. And you can buy some with valves on the end, basically a bunch of different options, but I wanted this so that I could put a T and use 2 separate lines coming out. So I'll show you guys that in a minute. So I want to split this, like I mentioned, into a T so that I can have one pipe going up to fill up buckets if I want to carry buckets around in water, or I can also hook up a hose to the bottom line. And I'm going to install 2 separate valves. The valve that comes on the tank seems like it works, it cuts the water off, but I don't know how long that valve will last. It doesn't seem like it's very easy to turn on and off. So I'm going to install a few ball valves to make sure that I can cut off the water supply, and that way I can also choose which way it comes out instead of both turning on at once when I open up that valve. So this system is going to be working basically off of just gravity, the weight of the water in the tank pushing out the water through the hose or filling up the bucket. And this will work great for gardens that are nearby that you're watering individual plants or using buckets to water them. If you want to run sprinklers, you're going to need to put in a pump of some kind. And that's actually what I'm going to be doing in my next video. I'm going to be installing an irrigation system, and our larger garden is about 300 feet away from the house. And I'm going to be running a line underground all the way over to there, have a tank at the bottom of the hill with a pump hooked up to 12-volt battery, and that should work for running some sprinklers down there and keeping our garden watered using all just rain collections. Now I'm just about finished hooking everything up and finishing this 1-inch PVC pipe. So I'm putting in a brass fitting so I can easily hook up that garden hose now. And you'll want to be careful with this. I'm going to make sure I don't yank on the hose at all. PVC isn't the strongest, especially as it ages, so you don't want to be twisting this and putting a lot of tension on it. So I'll just keep an eye on that. I'll go ahead and test the 5-gallon bucket fill station, and it works great. I could have even had it a little bit lower. That way the gravity doesn't take as much to lift the water up and then put it back down into the bucket, but it seems to work great. The valve shuts off the water really easily, and I'm probably going to put a few pipe straps to hold that pipe up against the metal frame right there, just to give it a little more strength so we don't end up bumping into it and breaking it off. Alright guys, that just about finishes up the video for today. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, let me know down in the comment section and hit that like button down below. And stay tuned for next week's video, where I'm going to be posting a video on how to make an irrigation system using just water that I collect from the rain. I want to give a quick shout out to all my supporters on Patreon. Thank you so much for your support and helping me continue to create videos like this one. And if you're watching this and enjoy the channel and want to give it back, that's a great way to do so. You can check out my Patreon page. I'll leave a link down in the description. You can help support the channel or just check out what we're doing there. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.